Hi, I'm Paula McIntyre. I'm delighted to be doing some recipes for the Health and Wellness conference. Obviously, we've got health in mind, but not. We want to do them really tasty recipes, and yes, cutting down salt, cutting down the fat, and sugar, but also concentrate on flavour and texture. So, okay, I'm going to do some fish now. Cook a nice fish dish, and this is I've got some cod, just nice sustainable fish, so it's it's not harming the environment, which is very important. Cod used to be endangered, but not now. This was caught just off just Greencastle direction there. So nice bit of cod, and it's just been scaled, and we're going to cook that. I'm going to do a few veggies with this, and the veg would be lovely just with chicken or anything. But so what we're going to do is a couple of things first. Fennel, and I think fennel is one of those vegetables that people think, oh, I don't know what to do with fennel. So I'm going to do a couple of things with it. I'm going to make a sauce, and then I'm going to char grill it. So just take these bits off the end here, and we're just going to chop these up to make a sauce. And then for this bit here, so I've got boiling water on there, bit of lemon, some of our Crawford's Rock seasoning in there. The lemon juice will stop the fennel going brown, so we want it to be nice and vibrant looking. So, and then you've got the fennel there. If you just cut that in half, and then really there's a wee wedge there. You can sort of see the wee root. If you just cut it into wedges through the root, there, like that goes in there. Just take about 10 minutes to do, and then we're going to finish this off on the char grill. So that's our fennel. Just let that cook down nicely, and already that smells beautiful just with the lemon and everything in it. So that's that. We'll ignore that for a wee minute or two. We'll make a sauce with the rest of this fennel. So again, I'm using a wee bit of the Brighter Gold lemon oil this time. So just nice with fish and nice with anything. So, and then a shallot. I would just want to finely chop the shallot just to so that I've got a wee bit of garlic here as well. So just chop that. That all goes in, and we'll just let that cook down nice and gently. I'm going to put a wee tiny bit of the seasoning in here, just a wee bit, just to sort of help break everything down as well. And this is going to be our sauce, and then we've got our fennel as well. So I quite like doing that if you have a couple of, if you have a vegetable like, say, onions. I like to roast them and then maybe pickle them, and you get just completely different flavours from them. And I guess that's the one good thing, when you are trying to do healthy things, it's making get as much flavour as you can. And one of the best ways is stock. So this is Carol Banahan's Carol's Stock Market. This is our cottage bone broth, which is it's made with pork, turkey, and chicken bones, and it's a wee bit like one of those broths you would get in Italy, where they would do the pasta in the broth, or even sometimes crepes in broth, which is lovely. So that just going to poach some leeks in this. So it's and then we're going to do keep a wee bit for the sauce. So leeks poached in broth, beautiful. So leeks, another really underused, I think we can't, I don't know, we don't really use leeks enough. I'm just going to poach them, just put them in here. And I think they're always around, leeks, they're grown here, they're beautiful. I think they're one of the nicest vegetables. Sometimes when I poach them, we'll poach them, and that takes up all the lovely juice. And I've got a few wee bits of basil stock and parsley stock there. Just add that in just to give another wee addition to that. But leeks are one of those sort of unsung treasures that we have here in Northern Ireland. And we tend to buy, at this time of year, we buy asparagus that comes from I don't know where, and then we ignore this that we have on our doorstep. Again, really, really good for you. And they're beautiful when you're in something like this here, which is quite delicate, you know, a nice delicate broth, and you poach them, and you get they're going to take up all the flavour. To me, that's as good as it gets. You know, it's like it's just really, really delicious. And I think one of these, we're so obsessed with with asparagus and green beans and things that aren't even in season. These are beautifully in season. They're grown here. There's no air miles, and they taste absolutely fantastic. That's the most important thing. So we're just going to bring that up to boil and let those settle down a wee bit. Have a wee look at our sauce now. So that's getting to the point where it's just, we're getting a nice wee bit of colour in the shallots. So I just really want to just cook that down a wee bit more. Our boiled fennel is going fine there, and we'll just let that sit away. Okay. And just with this sauce now, so that's I'm just going to add the rest of this wee bit of stock to it. And we're going to do just like a nice cream rather than a sauce. And we're going to finish that off with some of the Gnudi estate yogurt. Not a lot, just a nice tablespoonful of that. Okay, so leave that over there for a wee second. We take a wee bit of the water out of the fennel and the lemon there, and we'll just let that all bubble away. Right, so I'm going to cook the fish now. So I've got the cod and a nice bit of the lemon oil, so into the pan. I'm going to just season it with a wee bit of the Crawford's Rock seasoning on top there. Just that. One of the things is too when you're cooking fish is make sure it's dry. If you're going to pan fry it, get your butcher or your fishmonger, sorry, to scale it, and make sure just pat it dry. Use this blue paper, and then you can sort of keep using it, you know. So and make so if when it's dry, when it hits the heat, doesn't fizzle all out and go soggy on you, because we want to get a nice wee crisp and crust on this. So just in, and then another wee thing. So just put it away from yourself into the pan as well, so as not to burn yourself. Okay, and then just we'll just press that down a wee bit. Just we want to get a nice wee crust on that. Now this shouldn't take too long. I think we have this common misperception in this country that you need to cook fish for hours. I think you know, older people like my mum would, if she was cooking 2 bits of salmon for my dad and her, that would be cooked for at least 45 minutes. And it actually comes out more like a kind of kitty cat salmon than anything. And it's like, so I always say, no, 8 minutes is fine. So no, that's not long enough. So you really want to just have it nice to, in cooking we talk about at the point, à point. So that's really just at the point where it's just lovely. What I'm going to do now is, I'm just going to put this pan and all into the oven. Give my hands a wee wash. Just give my hands a wee wash. The sauce, now, so those were sort of our fennel trimmings, wee bit of garlic, a bit of shallot. So that's as you can see, that's pretty much ready. Again, I just want to take a nice spoonful of the Gnudi. I'm using a Greek style yogurt, and just when you add that, really, don't heat it up anymore, it'll split. And again, we've got the stock and we've got the flavour from the fennel, and you know the thing about it is you don't need a massive amount of cream. A lot of places we go and cream it's like big boiled cream sauces. You know, it's always a bit nice to do, like just have it lighten everything up a wee bit with you know, with that lovely bit of yogurt just at the end. You don't even have to do that, but and just let all the vegetables sort of speak for themselves. I'm going to give this a wee blitz. Right, so that's our sauce there. So nice and creamy, without having any cream in it, and just a nice sort of like what we call spoon coating consistency there. So that's the sauce. I'm going to have another wee look at the other things that I have ready here. So we've got our wee grill pan on here. Our fennel is ready. So this is our fennel that was poached in the lemon. That's ready. Just nice and soft. And then it hasn't no discolorization there, just because, you know, if you keep it in in that lemon water. I'm going to get this nice and hot. Yeah, we're not too far off it. Just give that a wee, and I'm going to just put a wee bit of the brighter gold lemon oil in this. And then just let that get nice and hot again. And then our leeks are ready. Now these leeks, honestly, I had something like this in Copenhagen early in the year, and honestly, you sort of think leeks, but if you get a nice stock like this, like Carol's, the cottage broth here, or any of our stocks, even the chicken one, and it just tastes, they just take up all the flavour of the stock, and then they take up, and they're absolutely beautiful. So, and such a simple thing. You see that stock there that's left now? I mean, obviously I'm not in a million years going to throw that down the drain, because for a start, I'm from McAdoo and we don't do stuff like that, and be pretty miserable around our part of the world. So I'm definitely not going to do that. But what I'll do with that is I'll keep that in the fridge, and because it's taken up that lovely flavour from the leeks, use that maybe if I'm just even pan frying some chicken, just use that for a sauce or at the end. So right, we'll just get this nice and hot, and then we just want to put our wee fennel in there, just to get a nice bit of colour in that. And we're just going to start get ready to plate up. Hopefully I'll have a wee look at our fish, it might be. Anyway, the fish, have a wee feel there, it's still got a wee bit of moisture in it, and then what I'm going to do is just hope for the best and flip this over. There we are. Give it another wee second on the other side, just let that rest for a wee minute or two. Our fennel, I just want to really just get that a nice bit of colour in that there. And again, it's such a delicate vegetable. I know a lot of people don't like fennel, but I think they, just give it a wee try. I think it's really adult veg. I think fennel just sort of tastes that you're really eating something properly, So we've got just take a wee bit of cod out there, and I'm just going to pat it dry. Just a nice clean pan there. A wee bit of paper. Okay, so I'll just put this on the plate. That's our cod. Nice kind of substantial piece of cod there. So we're very lucky in this part of the world too. We've got some fantastic fishmongers. This came from one in Korean called Native Seafood, but I know that in Belfast there's Ewing's, there's the Mourne Seafood, have a fish bar. St George's Market's fantastic. There's great ones along over in Fermanagh, and I think that's the thing, is to support those lovely local fish shops, because they won't be around for long, if we don't. So just put some of our fennel sauce just on the plate, and then we'll build up on that. So that's our fennel there. I'll put a few bits of our leek in between there, wee bits of poached leek. So you've got the lovely flavour coming through, and all of this from that stock as well. So I love nuts, and I love, when you get something hot like that, and I love almonds. So just a wee almond here, and I've got this as a truffle slicer. You could use a grater, so I don't actually use it for truffles that often, so I try to use it. I don't want to not use it, so and it's not every day you can afford 50 quid's worth of truffles to slice on it, so almonds are a lot cheaper. So, and then just when the almonds sort of hit that nice, you know, when they hit that those lovely warm vegetables too. And again, we're saying warm, you know, everything doesn't have to be pumping hot either, you know. And I'm just going to take another wee tiny drizzle of the lemon rapeseed oil just over that, and just to open all those lovely flavours up. And that pretty much is it. So that's our local cod, and we've got leeks, and we've got fennel, we've got a bit of candy boy yoghurt in it, we've got Carol's lovely cottage broth in the stock, and just to finish off the wee bit of lemon and almonds. I'm going to do a gnudi dish. So gnudi is like a ricotta dumpling, and I'm going to do some cauliflower with it, some mushrooms, just try and get as much flavour into it as possible. So the gnudi first, so I made ricotta. So we've got a milk, they have a milk vending machine here near Portrush, and I made the ricotta. You'll get the recipe, but basically ricotta is curdled milk. So you add acid to milk at a certain temperature, let it sit for an hour, and then strain it, and this is the ricotta. So that's our ricotta there, and then we'll just break that down a wee bit. So it's just as you can see, so it's just really ricotta is a nice light cheese as well. So I'm going to put a wee bit of parmesan into this, and just freshly grated parmesan cheese. A couple of egg yolks, and then some 00 flour. And we just really want to mix this up into like a nice dough, and then we're going to roll it out, and then we'll poach those. So that's the ricotta. I buy these wee ricotta dishes here in the wee ricotta molds. You don't have to do it if you're making ricotta. Just put it into like a plastic dish. But I go to this lovely village in the mountains in Italy every year. Well, I used to, and they've got 2 garden centres in the village. So the village is tiny. It's probably about the size of well, it's not even the size of Garva. Probably I don't know, Cloughy or somewhere in County Down. So it's really tiny. But the 2 guys, the 2 brothers, they had the family garden centre, but they fell out. So they have the 2 garden centres in this village, so you can imagine, and they undercut each other. So I think I got these for 5 cents, but if you order them online, they're an absolute fortune. So that's they need to calm down, I think, and think about their wellness and not argue, you know, too much. So sit around a table, and I think that's the thing as well about health and about health eating. I think as much of it is about how we eat, and we're used now to, and I was as guilty as anybody of going to a garage and grabbing a sandwich and eating it in the car, and maybe having some like a fizzy drink with it, and if you got a meal deal, the bag of crisps. So I think, you know, it's very important to, you know, to sit down and take time to just eat something, even a bowl of soup or something like that, just nice and healthy. So that's our dough done now, and then we'll just take a wee bit of flour onto our surface here, and just give it a wee knead together. Nothing too drastic here. You can make these up, make them up beforehand, and they take seconds to cook, as you'll see. So there we are. And you don't have to make the ricotta yourself. You can buy perfectly good ricotta in supermarkets, but the only thing I would say is put it into a sieve and drain it a wee bit, because sometimes the ricotta you buy can be a bit watery. Okay, a quick hand wash there, and we'll just roll this. You can make these any size you want. I sometimes do them into just into balls, or you can do what I'm going to do here, just cut them up into like wee just dumplings. So there we are. So it's like and these are great. I'm doing them with the cauliflower, and I'm going to do mushroom sauce with them today, But you could do these with, you know, like a nice sugo, like a really nice slowly cooked tomato sauce. I've done them with bolognese, you know, they're nice. And they're probably not as, gnocchi with the potatoes can be a wee bit stodgy, but just with the ricotta, they're just like wee lovely light fluffy pillows really. So just cut those up into nice wee dumplings there. And if you're waiting to cook them for a wee minute, just make sure you've got some flour in your board. And that sauce there. So that's your gnocchi, and that's probably enough for about 4 there. Okay, so that's our gnocchi. We'll set that aside. And I'll just give our board a wee wipe down. Right. Right, so that's our gnocchi done now. So we're going to do a couple of wee things here. We're going to do a sauce for a start to get to do a wee mushroom sauce. I'm going to use a couple of things. I'm also going to use mushrooms. I'm going to use this. This is a Carol stock market. So Carol Banahan is based in Derry, Londonderry, and she makes stocks. So this is a new one. I actually helped develop this with help from Invest. And this is a mushroom broth. So Carol sourced everything from as much as she could from Ireland. So it's organic mushrooms. It's wakame seaweed. We had used kelp at the beginning, but the kelp sort of was, you know, if you've got thyroid problems, that the kelp can raise them up. So wakame was the way we went with. There's a bit of miso and ginger in that. And then what I did as well was we're going to use that as a base, but just to get a lovely bit of flavour into this. These are roast onions. So all I did was just take the onions, cut them in half, skin on, bit of oil. I used this oil here, which is a Brighter Gold rapeseed oil. So this is a hickory smoked one. Put that on, and then to season it, I use this here. So it's Crawford's Rock. This is it's a mixture of salt, of lavish seaweed. There's garlic and there's rosemary in this. They actually won the Innovation Award from Blast and Erin Awards, which was sponsored by Invest NI. So really, really love this, and they do different flavours. This is delicious. You're cutting down your salt as well. So that just wrap over the onions, bit of tin foil, and roast them really, and they come out beautifully, like really lovely. I use this in loads of stuff. I have them in the fridge the whole time. Sometimes I'll blend it down, and if you just put a wee bit of that into soup or a sauce at the end, it's fantastic. So what we'll do is just take a wee bit of the rapeseed oil. So again, I use this a lot. It's omega-3, rich in omega-3, omega-6. It's fantastic. I don't have had my cholesterol checked quite a lot, and it's always pretty good, and I put it down to that oil. So I want to say pretty good, and you know yourself, if it's under 2, they don't mither you or bother you, you know, so we're all good. So a few wee bit of mushroom in here. So just it's a nice hot pan. I just wipe those mushrooms clean. Get the pan really, really hot. Put your mushrooms in. Okay, we'll get a bit of. Then the onions, which is roasted already. So that's going to help thicken up your sauce as well. We're going to try and stay clear of flour and like that in the sauces. Another wee drizzle of this oil. I'm going to use a wee bit of this to season, and again, not too much, but you have to remember it's just the lava. If you have a wee look there, there's seaweed, there's salt, there's bits of rosemary and bits of dehydrated garlic in it. Smells beautiful as well. So we'll get a nice wee bit of colour onto this. And already that smells. You got that garlic and the rosemary's coming through from the salt. You've got the lovely roast onions. And then I'm going to put in some of the, just get that, I'm going to just get that really nice and a good big, nice bit of colour in the mushrooms. When you're cooking mushrooms as well, you know, that's the thing, just to get a really, really hot pan. You have to remember mushrooms they're 95% water. So if you put in, if you just give them a wipe and put them into really, really hot oil, you won't get mushy mushrooms, which you really don't want. So a wee bit of this broth now. This is the lovely mushroom broth. I'm going to shake together. And then another thing that I'm going to do, and I use this quite a lot just to cut down on salt, is a bit of miso. So it's a soya bean paste, but it's really, really healthy, really good for you. And just a wee bit of that. It's fermented soya, so it's got that umami thing. And that's what we're really sort of looking for with a lot of this stuff, is to get that umami flavour, which is sort of is that thing that you get from Parmesan, you get from soya sauce, and it's that lovely flavour in your mouth. So I'm going to put this over to the side here and just get that bubbling away there. And then we're going to do our cauliflower now. So the cauliflower, I already cooked the cauliflower, just blanched it, boiling water, and just until it's just done. Drain it and then dry it on kitchen paper. So that's, and then to flavour that, this is nutritional yeast. It sounds weird, but again, it's bringing you that lovely umami flavour. I would cook a lot. I used to, this time last year, my life would have evolved around maybe cooking dinners, maybe in London or Brussels or somewhere, and doing demos. But what I've had to do now is reinvent myself. So now I cook a lot more and cook for visitors. In the summer, we had a lot of people. I did a couple of lovely high-end B&Bs in Portrush, and we had people coming to stay. A lot of vegetarians, a couple of vegans. And the thing about it is with vegetarian food is to try and get things into it that give you that lovely umami and that lovely meaty, yeasty flavour without being meaty. So this nutritional yeast, you can get it on health food shops or online. It's lovely, right? So that's so what we'll do is get our pan really, really hot, and we'll put a bit of oil in it. Just use the regular oil this time. Well, another thing I love about this oil, and we know we talk about health as well, you know, I know exactly where this oil's come from. I know where it's grown in fields in Limavady, and then it's taken in and it's cold pressed. So it's from a single estate. So you know, if you buy olive oil, yeah, it's great, but if you're buying olive oil, extra virgin olive oil from one estate, it's going to cost you that equivalent, cost you 30 quid. So it's got the honesty of the food. Whereas if you buy oil that's a mixture of oil, it could actually come from maybe 20 different countries. So this is from a health point of view, just know exactly where it's from. So you've got a nice bit of fume action going there. And what we'll do is just add the cauliflower. And what we're just looking to do here is just really colour this. And cauliflower is one of those vegetables too. I think we sort of look down on cauliflower, or else we drench it in cheese sauce, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with cauliflower cheese, trust me. But I'll put a wee bit of the smoked oil in this now. But I think it's one of those underrated vegetables. I think it's beautiful, you know, I really love it. But especially when you do it like this here, because you sort of, sometimes you cook cauliflower and it can be a wee bit, sort of that flatulence kind of air going about it, but this sort of takes that away from that. So it's pretty, really, you're sort of nearly caramelising the wee florets there. You get that lovely look, that colour there. That's and then what we do now is just take another tiny wee bit of oil in that there, just to liven that up a wee bit, and then we're using this nutritional yeast as a seasoning. Just on like that there. And the whiff of that when you get, oh, amazing. Just a lovely sort of whiff of, I'm a Marmite lover. Marmite is yeast. So if you like Marmite, you'll love this. And if you don't like Marmite, because I know this for a fact, I do a vegan gravy, which has got Marmite in it, and everybody loves it. And then they say, oh, it's got Marmite in it, and they say, I don't like Marmite, but you don't taste it. Same as this. That's an amazing smell there, beautiful. So that's that ready. I'm going to do some mushrooms now. So we've got our mushroom sauce, which is nearly ready. I'll just leave that over to the side here. Have a wee look at our mushroom sauce there. So I'm just going to put that on the heat a wee bit. Just a wee bit watery, but then when you blend that up, it'll be lovely. And we're going to put a wee bit of the Candy Boy yogurt into it. Juggling here. Nice hot pan again, and we're just going to take our mushrooms and just quarter them here. These are just good, honest to goodness Armagh mushrooms, nothing fancy. If you can get yourself some wild mushrooms, that's great, but I don't really see anything wrong with these. The other thing I'm going to do just when I'm waiting for that pan to heat up is just for a different texture and a wee bit of zing in this whole thing, because it's all quite earthy and lush. So just take a shallot. I'm just going to finely slice it. And then just break it up into wee rings there. And then what I'm going to do is just the quickest pickle ever. So it's just really just that there. So this, what I'm going to pickle it with is one of the nicest things that have come out of 2020 was this product, and it's hold on a second. It's a peat smoked balsamic vinegar from Burren Balsamics. So just a wee toot of that. Beautiful. If you're making a chicken, put a wee bit of that in with the chicken juice. So after you've roasted it, it's lovely with steak. It's lovely. And it's just, again, there's no fat in it. It's just flavour. So we'll just leave those to the side. Right. So nice and hot with this now, and then we'll just take a bit of the oil. And then take our mushrooms just onto the pan there. And we just want to get these nicely scorched, a wee bit of colour on them. There's a wee bit of a slope in here. It's like cooking in the largest in our ferry a wee bit here. It's just, I got to just put a wee bit of you don't have to do this, but really just a small amount of that salt and the Crawford's Rock seasoning, just a wee tiny bit there. Okay, so and we'll just let these cook down. While I'm waiting for that to happen, I'm going to take a wee bit of got our sauce here. That amount of the Candy Boy estate yogurt. Okay, and all I'm going to do is blend this into a nice sauce while I'm waiting for my mushrooms to cook. So that's our sauce. I'm just going to have a quick taste of that. Just make sure it's okay. Lovely. The thing about the sauce is too, it's actually quite light because there's very little fat in it, and also just that wee tiny bit of yogurt in it again, just at the end gives it a lovely silkiness. So these mushrooms are coming up lovely here. Now if you're, I know a lot of people do barbecue all year round, so these are great in the barbecue as well. I mean, if it's not raining, I barbecue, and that's if it's snowing as well, I don't really mind. So I've got some water here, and I'm just going to cook a few of put these over here at the high heat there, and I'm going to cook a few of wee gnudi, just in I'm just going to cook a few of these just to, and then we've got our lovely mushrooms there, as you can see, just starting to cook up. Lovely, and even the smell really nice actually. Okay, so just get this, I'll take this out of the way, get that cook up there, and we're going to plate up on this. So this kitchen is in a Quilly house just outside Coleraine. It's owned by the people who, Richard and Leona Kane, who do the rapeseed oil. So this is their, I guess, their holiday home, but we were sort of running it as a business for a while together, as we were doing sort of supper clubs in the beautiful dining room through there, but COVID has put pay to that because it was cosy. We had cosy suppers, so with social distancing, I think we could have about 6 people around the table, so we decided to wait until all this was over. So there's our gnudi now. So that's I just want to finish this gnudi in the pan here with the. You can't just serve it like that, but just to get another wee bit of flavour onto that, there's more oil in the pan. This will fizzle up a wee bit, but just in. Just when that cheese sort of hits the pan with the oil in there, that's lovely. Oops, there's a wee one, doesn't want to. Right. So this is all looking quite autumnal really, but turn this off here. So this is so we start with our sauce. So this is our mushroom sauce with Carol's Stock Market. Her new mushroom broth. So put that into the middle there. So again, it's just a nice thick sauce, you know, without being heavy. And take some of our just our gnudi around the plate. Some of our mushrooms. There's other things you could do with this. I mean, there was still some lovely culinary pumpkins floating around. It's lovely at this time of year. You know, if you go to go to farm shops, they always have really unusual things. You know, so some of our cauliflower. So it's just if you don't like mushrooms, you know, you could do it with a tomato sauce. A wee bit of cauliflower there, and that's. I just want to put a wee bit of greenery into this as well, just so we'll just take a wee bit of basil and just do a nice wee fine sort of wee shred of the basil. And again, we've got some parsley that's growing outside here, and even though it's this is a parsley that never dies. It's like I think this has been going for a couple of years now, and even in the frost it doesn't. So it's really, really hardy. Just a wee bit of the smoked oil in that. I'm going to take some of these wee lovely pickles now. The wee pickled, they've sort of go nice wee pink colour. So just a few of the wee pickled shallots are pickled in the peat smoked vinegar. So even then, when that sort of hits, you get that lovely sort of, you know, that lovely, really savoury, sort of pickly smokiness. And then just another wee bit of our oil in here. And just a bit of these wee herbs and oil just around the side of it there. couple of wee basil leaves here. Just a wee bit there, just for, not just for colour, not to brighten it up, but also I always think when you put basil onto a plate of hot food, you just get that lovely, a sort of a wee bit of sunshine. So that's a dish. So that's a nice lunch, but vegetarian, okay, not vegan, but vegetarian. So we've got our gnudi made with the ricotta, and we've got our roasted yeasted cauliflower. We've got some local mushrooms, and we've got all our nice products here. We've got the Carl Stock Market vegan mushroom broth. We've got the Broiler Gold rapeseed oil. We've got our great peat smoked vinegar. We've got the Crawford's Rock salt seasoning, and that's it. That's our dish. Okay, so this dish is it's a lamb loin, and we're going to just put it in the pan. Going to finish it off with a wee bit of the Islander kelp salsa verde, which is beautiful. So it's a salsa verde, so it's got your mint and it's got basil and the kelp in it. So I love this anyway. I love their products. And then we're going to do the lamb. So the lamb now. I've got pan's getting hot here. The lamb is just a loin of lamb. So really, that would have started off as a full rack with like 7 chops on it. So what I've done is just trimmed it down, or get your butcher to trim it down. Take all the fat and gristle off. What I normally do is take the bone off and give it a roast, and make a stock out of it. But we'll just take a wee bit of the oil, and then I'm going to season it up with some of the Crawford's Rock salt here. So just rosemary in that, which is lovely with lamb, garlic, and then the wee bit of seaweed as well, which sounds weird with lamb, but in France they would take a big leg of lamb, put holes in it, put in slithers of garlic and anchovy, and the anchovy seasons it. So I kind of think this sort of works in a similar way. So get that pan nice and hot. We're going to do some carrots with it as well. So we've got these are carrots that are actually again grown by the Canes. They took over McGilligan carrots. McGilligan, which is just sort of up that way a wee bit, is very famous for growing carrots. Carrots need sandy soil, and all the soil around McGilligan and Myroe, Limavady, has all been reclaimed from the sea, so it's sandy, and that means you get nice pert carrots. There you are. So into the pan, nice hot pan, just lightly oil lamb, and we're just going to seal that off. I like my lamb pink, so I'm going to cook this pink, and I'm going to rest it for a wee minute or two. If you like your lamb well done, just cook it a wee bit. I would suggest that if you like well done lamb, that probably this isn't the cut, that maybe just buy some leg steaks, because this is not the cheapest cut, and actually you're kind of ruining it a wee bit by overcooking it. So we'll just keep it nice and moist. I'm going to take just a little bit of this lovely salsa verde at this stage, and just put that on top. So you're just going to make a nice sort of crust with it. Alright. And the smell of that already, just with the garlic and the mint and the basil, is beautiful. So that will go into the oven here. I have that oven at about 200, so we'll just do that. So while I'm waiting for that, so with the carrots, I'm going to do char grilled carrots actually, with a furikake, which is a wee kind of lovely seasoning on it. So to roast the carrots, what I do is just cut them in half, and just give them I peel these, but if you get, sometimes I get them just give them a good scrub and then just peel them. Or don't peel them, scrub them, cut them in half. So into the pan there, into this, right, and then just a bit of oil, a wee bit of the rapeseed oil at the top, a wee bit of the Crawford's Rock, rosemary and the seaweed. and the salt. And then what we'll just do is going to just make a little parcel of this. So just, and what happens here is you're sort of steaming the carrots, and then they're not going to colour. And then what I'm going to do is when they're cooked, and I've got some already cooked, we'll just take them out and grill them, and then you're going to caramelise them. So that goes in again. These take about 45 minutes. Okay, so that's that. Now, what I did was I took a sheet of parchment paper and just peeled the carrot on top of it, and then put it onto a really low oven, about 80 degrees, and just dried them out. So I've got these lovely wee carrot crisps. And because the carrots are so sweet from around here, and again, it's the same in County Down, the carrots are at this time of year intensely sweet, and this just makes them really sweet. So I just want to scrunch this up now. I'm going to do like a wee sort of seasoning for over the top of the carrots, which I grill them. So it's kind of like a Japanesey thing. Japanese, but with local ingredients. So, and again, it's just, when you get those lovely flavours just of those like umami and flavours like that. So this is, so that's that there, that's that bit. I'm going to put a wee bit of smoked paprika in this, or you could use fresh chilli with this, but I prefer just a wee bit of dried because it is kind of a seasoning. So this is just smoked sweet paprika. Sesame seeds, which are incredibly good for you, full of zinc. Every time I read something that says, oh, take sesame seeds, they're brilliant for lowering your blood pressure, and like that you get that lovely taste of toasted sesame seed that you don't really need the salt either. So, and then the other thing is, this is North Coast Smokehouse in Ballycastle. This is a smoked dulse, so it's a dulse seaweed. It's smoked, it's dehydrated, and it's cut into a wee powder. And again, I use this as a seasoning for fish or for anything, because it actually gives you that sort of feeling of smoky bacon without having it like that. And just give that a shake around, and that's no salt in that, because the seaweed is going to give you a nice bit of salt, and you've got a sweetness from the carrots. You've got a tiny wee bit of spice from the smoked paprika, and then that lovely sort of savoury umami from the sesame seeds. So that's that done. And then what we're going to do is just char grill our carrots. So the carrots are already done. So these are just roasted, so they're nice and soft. And we're just going to give them a wee char grill here, and then we'll finish them off with this furikake seasoning, which I actually make up a good bit of this. And it's, I try to go a couple of days a week just meat free, and you see something like this here, if you just sprinkle it over beetroot or parsnips, or if you do a nice lentil salad, anything like that. So that's so get that nice and hot, and then we'll get that going. And the meat should take about 8 minutes, so sort of think that's not too far off it. So I'm going to take the meat out now, just to take the lamb out now, just to have a wee. So what we do is just have a wee feel at it there. If you have a thermometer, that's great. You're looking for about, suppose for lamb, rare lamb, you'd be looking for about 64, I guess. I don't do that, I just use my fingers. So that's still pretty squishy there, as you can see. So put that in for another bit, but we will take it out and rest it. Right, so nice hot pan there. See the wee bit of the oil there that we did when it was cooking? So we don't need to oil these again. So just into the pan, and they've still got that nice seasoning on it. And again, when you char grill carrots, again, what you're doing is you're adding sweetness to it, and you're bringing out that sort of, when you caramelise them, you get that lovely flavour. Without adding fat, all you're doing is just intensifying the sweetness of them. And again, I would do this and do it in the barbecue, and then you get that nice smokiness as well from it. Give a wee look just there, just want to get those nice and caramelised. And already they smell really, really nice because they've got that beautiful sort of, it's like sugar. It's just like, if you're making caramel, it's exactly the same smell. So just nicely scorched. There you go, beautiful. You sort of see that lovely caramelisation on that. Again, even if you were just doing this with your Sunday lunch, just to really to just sort of liven it up. You can imagine that with a nice bit of roast beef. You turn those off now, and then just sprinkle them while they're warm with that furikake, which is our sort of dehydrated carrots. We've got our smoked dulse there, we've got our sesame seed and the carrot as well. So it's a real feast of carrots, this. But again, that smell when it hits, so you're getting the lovely, the dulse and the smoked paprika is especially coming through. There we are, leave those aside. And that's done, yeah, 2 seconds. Right. Okay, so that's those are our carrots. So this is basically going to be meat and 2 veg, but livened up a wee bit. So what I've got here, and again, I was talking about going to farm shops. The meat merchant in Moira have started to do these. These are Paula potatoes, and these are Violetta potatoes, and this is a Mayan gold one. And you cut into it, that lovely colour there. Any spud, I just sort of thought I'll go for this today. Look at that there, for a nice sort of dramatic effect, So it's like if you're going to be healthy, you might as well do it with style. And the thing about the sort of nutritionists would tell you to incorporate sort of red foods into your diet. So like tomatoes, red cabbage, aubergines, these potatoes. They're really, really healthy. So what I did was just blanch them earlier, patted them dry, and we're going to finish them off. And the I'll do that again. And we're just going to finish these off in the smoked oil. So I think the smoked oil works really nicely with the spuds as well. So get this nice and hot, and just nice drizzle of the oil. Okay, so when I was cooking these here, I actually seasoned them with some of the Crawford's Rock seasoning. So we're not going to. So they are pretty much seasoned. So we're not going to put any more salt on them. And when that heats up there, now you get that lovely smokiness, which would work really, really nicely with the spuds. So put them in like a clock. So the first one in is the first one you flip over. Same if you're cooking scallops. First one in, first is the first flip. Are they beautiful? Lovely, beautiful spuds. Right, I'm going to just check my lamb again. Okay, so in the space of 2 minutes that's sort of ready-ish, and I've just have a wee feel at it there, just the top, and it's nice and still got a bit of give on it. Just while it's like that, I'm just going to take a wee bit of pretty much the oil from the salsa verde, and just put that over it. Right, so we'll just have so that was our first one there, have a wee look at that now. That's not ready yet, no. So you can use any spud for this. What I did was, but I kept the skin on, and that's important because in between the skin and the flesh, that's where your vitamin C is. We don't think of potatoes as having vitamin C, but they actually are. But you've got to keep the skin on. So give them a good scrub as your best bet. So that's, and potatoes, I mean, I think in this country we've kind of shunned potatoes a wee bit in favour of pasta and in favour of rice. And if you have a potato, a baked potato, in its essence, if you put a potato into the oven and you bake it, that's it. It's fat free. It's full of vitamin C. It's full of nutrients. Whereas you know, and it's what you put in it. Obviously, when you split it open and put in some butter or sour cream, you are putting in calories. But I really think if you have something like this, like a spud, and you source your spuds carefully. By sourcing carefully, I mean go to a farm shop, go to the source. You know, you see signs all around Northern Ireland, all around the country, with a farm shop or veg for sale. You go up to somebody's farmyard, you get a big bag of dirty spuds for, you know, for £6, and they keep better when they're caked in dirt. The only thing is you just have to wash them. I mean, that's not really a hardship, is it? So, and they are so nutritious, so good for you. But apart from anything else, you know, they're sort of part of our food history, and we're kind of ignoring them in favour of pasta, which is, you know, pretty much just carbs, you know. So these are carbs too, but you have to do so much more to pasta. I think sometimes you could have for your dinner nearly just a baked potato with butter, couldn't you? Or if you didn't want to have the butter, you could have it just with some, you know, I don't know, with some chicken but you couldn't say that with pasta, you know. So that's the thing. Or rice. You have to do so much to them. Whereas if you get a really beautiful local spud like this, and I mean, look at that there. I mean, that's, you know, something else in the colour department, isn't it? So what we do now is just take our, those are ready, so take those off, and we're just going to plate up here now. So we've got our, so what I want to do really is just is also take a wee bit. We've got our wee furikake there, but what I want to do is take a wee bit of the salsa verde as well again, because it's so beautiful. We just want to take a wee bit. So just a nice tablespoonful there of that. And a wee bit of oil just to let it down a wee bit. So this is going to be just a really, really quick dressing just for our dish. I mean, this is another fantastic product, the Islander kelp, developed by Kate Burns on Rathlin Island, and they have a kelp farm. So you actually cultivate the kelp out on ropes out at sea. They have a machine that cuts it, because I don't know if you've ever kelp is like really, really rubbery, but they introduced this a machine that they developed that cuts the kelp into noodles. It's called the kelpinator. So they do have a product where it's just noodles as like cut into like tagliatelle, and they blanch them and they pack them, and you just heat them up, and they're beautiful. This one is just as I said, it's salsa verde, so it's got the mint and the basil, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I think it's beautiful with lamb. So we've got our wee bit of lamb there. So we'll take that off, and as you can see, there's just a wee bit of juice there. I do not want to waste that. That's probably the best bit of it. So that goes in there, and adds just a nice wee beefiness to that. We've got our carrots here. We'll take a couple of wee carrots up this side of the plate. So those are our carrots with our carrot furikake. So that's just carrots with our local seaweed there, our dulse. We've got dehydrated carrots, so it's double carrot. So if anything comes out of this, you'd be able to see in the dark. That's a good thing. We'll take a wee bit of our lamb here. So again, nice and pink, which is the way we really want it. Just like that. When you just cut your lamb too, you just let it sit a wee second there, and just let those. I'll take a wee bit of our spud here, so that. we go. And then a nice wee bit of lamb here. So this is our 3 wee bits there. Nice bit of pink lamb, who doesn't? And then just take a nice bit of our juices, our kelp salsa verde. And we've got a wee bit over our potatoes too, because they're just, you know, when you put dressing on a spud as well, you know, just a nice wee bit of dressing like that, just on a hot spud, it's really beautiful. Sometimes I'm making a potato salad, I do it warm, and rather than do mayonnaise based, have the hot potatoes just straight into a lovely vinaigrette, just with maybe some oil, a bit of vinegar, mustard, and lots of dill, really finely chopped red onion, and then just toss it in it, and it's beautiful. So same with this here, just when the warm potatoes get that nice dressing, get that lovely smell. So that's take a wee bit of basil here, because we've got some parsley. This is the everlasting parsley from outside here, outside at Quilly House. So take a wee bit of that there. So I'll cut through that there. So that's our dish there. So it's local lamb with the Islander kelp salsa verde, and then we've got our carrots, which are from McGilligan, and we've got the carrot furikake, which is like the dehydrated carroty crisps with smoked dulse from Ballycastle. We've got some sesame seeds. We've got a wee bit of smoked paprika, and then our beautiful spuds, and again, all with a wee dressing with the Islander kelp.